what's up guys, and welcome back to Move Plus. Hope you've all had a good week so far. We're gonna start things off with 1 minute of cardio of your choice. Now, we're gonna squeeze 2 movements into the 1 minute here. So you're gonna go 30 seconds of high knees, and then 30 seconds of butt kicks. Okay, that's what we're working with. You can do the same, or you can pick your own thing with that one. From there, the next 2 minutes are gonna be broken up into 30 seconds of jumping jacks, and then 30 seconds of alternating Samson stretch. Okay, and we'll go through that twice, so that will take 2 minutes. The remaining 2 minutes, what we'll do is 30 seconds of burpees. So coming down and then popping up, and then 30 seconds of reverse lunges. So stepping back, knee to ground. Okay, Em, you good to go? Yep. All right, we are starting in 10, so 1 minute of cardio of your choice. We're going with the high knees and the butt kicks, 30 seconds apiece. Ready, set, and go for it. So these are 2 nice simple drills, guys. They don't require a lot of space or any equipment at all. We're just thinking about getting the knees up around the height of the hip and just staying nice and light, nice and bouncy on the balls of the feet. You can obviously get your arms involved as much as you want to as well, getting that whole body nice and warmed up. So once we get to the 30-second marker, we're gonna switch to butt kicks. So that's gonna get a little bit more focus on the hamstrings, on the back of the legs there. We'll do 30 seconds on that as well. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. Okay, so basically just trying to tuck the heels up as high to the butt as you can. Another thing you can do with this one is actually put your hands behind your glutes there and have them as like a kick target. So you can get your heels to tap your hands. That way you know you're getting a nice full range of motion each time. And in about 10 seconds, we're gonna move into that second section. So 30 seconds jumping jacks, 30 seconds alternating Samson stretch. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So with this one, guys, we've got a similar kind of feel with the feet in that we're just gonna stay nice and bouncy on the kind of mid-foot, forefoot, jumping them in and out. And as that's happening, the arms are swinging from top to bottom. So looking for thigh contact and then overhead contact. So 10 more seconds, and then we're gonna push into that Samson stretch. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. Okay, so with the Samson stretch, guys, we're looking for a nice long lunge, so ideally a little longer than normal, so we're really able to drive those hips forward. We're also gonna bring the arms up and over the top, so with the left leg forward, she's gonna reach to the left, and then vice versa for the other side. Three, 2, 1, back on jumping jacks. So at this stage of the warm-up, guys, if you're feeling good, if you feel like that blood's flowing, all the joints are feeling good, start to up the tempo a little bit. It's always good to give the heart rate a little bit of a rev up before we get into build and into move. Three, 2, 1, and back into that Samson stretch. So there's kind of ideally like 2 spots in the body here where we're really thinking of trying to open up. So one is through the hip flexor kind of quad region. So that's that lower body portion where we're driving the hips forward, sort of pushing that knee through as much as we can. The other part is up into the shoulders and kind of like into the lats as well. So as we reach up and over, we're gonna open that up nicely. Okay, so about to roll into that next section, going burpees for the next block, and go for it. So we want to go from a standing start down to flat on the ground. So you want to make sure that not only are your legs and abdomen on the ground, but your chest is fully flat as well. So get right down, nice narrow hand position, and then we're going to pop up onto the feet, jump, and get a hand contact above or behind the head. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and reverse lunge. Okay, so this is going to be kind of similar to that Samson stretch, guys, although we're probably going to just close it up just a little bit so everything gets nice and squared up now. We deliberately went long with the Samson stretch to really get into those hips. Now we're going for an ideal position as far as strength goes. So nice straight line from head down to that knee that's on the ground, and then your leg that's out the front should have the shin nice and vertical. 3, 2, 1, and back to the burpees. So last minute of the warm-up. You can see that nice controlled kind of roll down to the ground, so it doesn't have to be a fully strict push-up. Three, 2, 1, and those reverse lunges one last time. So you want to avoid the temptation to lean forward or press off your leg, guys. You want to keep nice and tall as much as you can. Three, 2, 1, and done. All right, so that's the warm-up done, guys. Have a little bit of recovery time, and then we're gonna check out build next. Alrighty, so we're checking out the build section now, guys. This one is 10 minutes long, and we have 5 rounds to get through, so we're gonna roughly look at about a 2-minute turnaround. First movement we have is a suitcase split squat. So we're gonna set up in a lunge stance. Okay, dumbbell in either hand, doesn't particularly matter too much. You can also have dumbbells in both hands if you want. From there, we are lowering ourselves down knee to ground, and then back up again. So we'll go 10 on the one side, then we'll change sides, and we'll do 10 on the other side as well. Okay, once we clear that one, we're gonna move to 10 to 15. You guys can decide the number of a bent over row. So from here, we're going to lean over like a deadlift position and then row the dumbbell or whatever weighted object you have towards the body. So remember, we wanna get that done within 2 minutes, plus we wanna try and allow for a little bit of rest in there as well. Good to go? Yep. All right, starting in 10. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So this movement is similar in nature to a lunge, but the key feature with this one that differentiates it from a normal lunge or a walking lunge is that the feet stay stuck in the one spot. So we actually end up just moving straight up and down like we would a squat, it's just in that split stance. So all the same mechanics of the knee just gently contacting the ground, nice tall posture, making sure that the knee is tracking well with that lead foot so it's not collapsing in. All of that is the same from a lunge to a split squat. So this is just going to be a little bit about kind of balance and control as we move in and out of it. Now I mentioned with the dumbbells, guys, that suitcase position, you can have dumbbells in both hands if you want, or you can do as Em's doing there, dumbbell in single hand, and it doesn't particularly matter which side you have it in, as long as you're keeping the shoulders square and not getting kind of tilted off to one side. All right, so from there, 10 to 15 reps on the bent over row. So key thing here is keeping the back nice and straight, same way we would for a deadlift. The bottom mark is going to be about knee height, so it means that we're getting nice and far over the top. And then I like to think of like the belly button as that top touch marker with the dumbbell, so we get a nice full range of motion. All right, so that takes about 1:15 there, so we've got a little bit of time to rest till the 2-minute marker. Because you have the option of going 10 to 15 reps, so you guys can decide if you've got a heavier dumbbell and 10 feels like it's more than enough, do that. Lighter ones, you can obviously extend it out to 15. Okay, 20 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. Now, one of the most common things to pop up as an error within split squats or lunges or anything in that family of movement is when we have a weight in our hand, it'll want to shift forward, okay? And then that will want to take the body forward with it, and everything starts to exaggerate into a bad kind of leaned over position. So think about trying to run that hand down the side of that thigh. So as we come down, it stays nice and level with it rather than tilting forward. So if you think about having like hands at your pockets, that's a good way of thinking, like a good cue to think about as you're going through it. Good idea too to think about where the pressure is in that lead foot. If it feels like it's very, very heavy into the toes and the forefoot, try to drift it back and dig the heel into the floor. Really try and get that rear chain of muscles kicked into gear. Now, I like that when Em's doing this, she's got a big emphasis on how her shoulder blades are moving. So she's not just thinking about where the dumbbell is, she's actually thinking about contracting that upper back and closing it. So bringing the shoulder blades together, opening that chest up, and getting it nice and close. Nice. All right, that's 2 down. We've got 3 to go. Okay, 20 seconds to go. Ten seconds. So coming up on round 3 here. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. Now with this split squat, guys, if you find that balance is a really big issue, feel like you're constantly stumbling and trying to adjust your feet and trying to find your center, feel free to just ditch the dumbbell for a round. You can just get rid of it and just work with body weight. You can also set yourself up next to maybe a kitchen countertop or a table, put your hand on it or even just your fingertips to give you a little bit of guidance. Once you feel like you've kind of got the stance right, you've got the body positioning right, and you feel like you can do it without that contact, then we can maybe bring that dumbbell back into it. What we don't want to do is kind of wrestle our way through it and be stuttering around and having that weight kind of change the shape of the movement. We want to make sure we can be nice and stable. As Em's doing there, she's keeping her feet grounded in the one spot the whole time, staying in control. All right, moving back to the bent over row now. So we're going to go below knee height, pull to the belly button. So the whole way through this movement, we're going to see a nice vertical forearm. So at the bottom there, you can see it's vertical, and then at the top, it's vertical as well. And that's that pull to the belly button. That, as opposed to me pulling to the chest, you can see the angle of that arm changes. It kind of goes into a really, like a deep bicep kind of a movement. Whereas we want to think more about getting the lats and all those back muscles to switch on. That's why we pull low down the body. So we've got 2 rounds left. "20 seconds. Three, 2, 1, and go for it. Nice work, Em. So she's got a nice controlled tempo with this. She's not rushing through it. And she can also, like if you're at home and the weight option that you have feels a little easy for this, slow it down. Do the reps with the tempo. Have more time under tension. That will make it more challenging for you. So you can see she's still got that nice sort of active shoulder and lat that draws that dumbbell back, doesn't let it swing forward, keeping the weight central and close to her hips. Now, along the way with this bent over row, guys, if you start to get fatigued, feel yourself starting to kind of slouch the chest down, kind of rounding over, make sure you stand back up again, re-engage that posture, and then come down. It's really important that we're not hanging by that low spine. We want to make sure it's got everything lined up and we've got that midline engaged. So all the same rules as when we deadlift. Nice, Em. All right, another nice consistent time there. We've got 1 more round to go through, so we'll hit that at the 8-minute marker. "20 seconds. right, last round, going in 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So from side on, we can see that Em's got this nice straight line through her body, right? So she's getting her right knee to ground, and in a moment you'll see it with her left side, that we can draw a line from her head, through her shoulders, through her hips, down to the knee. What she's not doing is pitching forward and having like a bent position through the hips there. She's opening it right up and staying nice and tall. As I said at the start, it's kind of like she's just straight up and down, almost like she's in an elevator. There's no kind of forwards or backwards with it. It's just straight up and down. So she's leading with that left knee and making sure that she's not thinking about like the top of the body coming down without the lower body going with it. Nice. All right, so that's the split squats done. Just going to finish off this last set of rows. Remember, pay attention to the shoulder blades. It's not enough just to touch the dumbbell to the body. You could be doing that and rounding the shoulders over, which we don't want. We want to get those shoulders wound back at a nice wide open chest. Nice. All right, so that's the last round, guys. We've got about 30 or 40 seconds left on the clock there, so we'll let that tick away. If you're still going, obviously take your time, work through it. Once we get to the end of that, we'll push on. Last 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, guys, so that is the build section done. Have a little bit of recovery time, get some water in. We're gonna finish things off in a moment with a little bit of cool down stretching. Alrighty, so guys, now that all the hard work is done, we're just gonna cool things down now with a little bit of mobility work. So 2 drills we're gonna do. The first one is what we call a baby maker. We're gonna do it a really slow one, so sometimes this gets done as a warm-up drill. We're gonna slow it down and do it as a cool down stretch. So with this one, I'm gonna go for 1 minute on grabbing the toes, and then we're gonna move in and out of a nice deep squat. So as we go through this, the knees are gonna kind of flare out. We're gonna try to keep those arms sort of as straight as we can on the inside of the legs. This is going to be very dependent on your current level of mobility. If you need to do this one holding onto something, so I might set up holding onto the leg of a dining room table or a door frame, something like that. And that way I can kind of sit back on my heels. What we want to try to avoid is getting up onto the toes as we sink into that bottom position. So just making sure that you can keep the feet grounded. You will find that at the kind of the top portion of this, that back is going to curve just a little bit, and that's okay. Don't stress too much on that. But we want to try and flatten it out as we sink into the bottom there and try to maintain as much of that straightness as you can. So just slowly in and out of that, 2 or 3 seconds at end range, top and bottom, and then just a nice slow sink into it as you go through. Alrighty, so that's drill number 1. Second drill we're going to do is we're going to go on the knees. Going to sit back on the heels and have those arms stretched as far out in front as we can, so child's pose. This is one of my favorites because it's one of the easiest ones to do after you've done a hard workout. You can just sink into it. You don't have to hold yourself up or anything like that. So main thing is just making sure that those arms are as long as you can get them, really get the fingertips right out. So we're looking at sort of lats, shoulders. You'll also probably likely get a little bit of low back too, just because of the whole thing sort of stretching and lengthening out. So this is just a straight position at the moment, but you can also play around with kind of biasing to the left and right if you want to. Good if you're doing this one to do it on something soft. So if you've got a yoga mat, we've got a gym mat there. Just something to take a little bit of edge off the knees. If you're on hard ground, you're more likely to be focused on the discomfort in the legs rather than the actual stretch. So set yourself up so you can hang out in this for a little while. Alrighty, so those are the 2 drills, guys. Let's do 3 or 4 rounds of that. Take some time to loosen up. Otherwise, we will catch you next time. And that's been your Move Plus workout.